Today is Thursday, Parashat Vayigash, a very moving parasha. Last week's parasha and this week's parasha, we see that the brothers of Yosef come to Egypt to fetch provisions, and instead of Yosef telling them, "Here, I am Yosef, and I forgive you for all you've done," what does he do? He makes them go through these very difficult challenges. He takes Shimon and throws him in jail. And then he demands that they should bring Binyamin over. And then last week's parasha, when they leave, he hides his goblet in the bag of Binyamin purposefully, and then he sends a person to catch up with them, and he tells them, "What is this? You stole Yosef's cup." And they come back to Egypt, and now he tells them that he wants to keep Binyamin as a slave, and tells them, "Why don't you go back home?" And the beginning of this parasha starts with Yehuda saying, coming and pleading on behalf of Binyamin, and making an argument to Yosef. And there is no way that Yehuda, who sold Yosef, whose idea was to sell Yosef as a slave, now in this week's parasha, even though it was something that was not his own doing, it's Yosef, to everybody's, what they were looking at, he was the second in command of Egypt. They had no idea that he was their brother. They took Binyamin to be a slave, and now instead of the brothers just leaving Binyamin in Egypt, Yehuda comes forward and argues and even offers that they should all be slaves rather than Binyamin, and let Binyamin go back to his father. Binyamin and Yosef were from the same mother, from Rachel. And the jealousy that was there between the brothers and Yosef, and the hatred that had developed. Now also there is his brother from the same mother. They could have felt the same way. They could have felt like, let's just leave him in Egypt and we'll tell the father it's not our fault. But all what Yosef made them go through is in order to bring them up actually on a pedestal. When a person does teshuvah, the test is he going to act in a different way when he's put to test in similar situations? Is he going to sin just like he sinned before? How are they going to behave towards Binyamin? Yosef wanted to bring the best out of his brothers. We're sometimes in a situation where we want to correct someone. It could be a child that we want him to do better. And sometimes he is at fault. And we forgive him. But when you forgive a person, it's good. You did the right thing. The question is, how does he feel? Does he feel like he's on the floor? Or can you maybe make him go through some tests, make him go through some actions that will make him come up to a level where he feels he's forgiven, but he's proved himself that he's able to do the right thing. And this is what Yosef wanted from his brothers. Yes, he could have forgiven them from the beginning and said, "Look, I'm Yosef, I'm your brother. Forget what happened, I forgive you." But through all that he did, making sure to bring Binyamin and to put them to test where he takes him to be made as a slave, and them standing the ground and said, "There is no way we're going to leave our brother behind." He's actually not only forgiven them, but he's brought them to a level much higher than they were before, where they are put to test even in a bigger test. They did not sell Binyamin. It was Yosef, at that point a stranger, who took him. Yet they step up to the plate, they raise to a level, and by him making them go through this, he's raised them to a higher level, he's forgiven them, but put them also at the same time on a pedestal, on a higher level, to show what they're capable with. And this is a lesson for us, whether it is with us getting our children to do the right thing, or people around us that we want to have them improve. Are we going to make them feel wrong, even if we forgive them? Or do we want the best thing for them? And are we going to, through whatever we're going to try to do, to educate them how to do the right thing and to give them the opportunity and the chance to do right? That is the challenge. And that's why it says, "Ochiach tochiach et amitecha." You should correct the one that you need to correct. But do it in a loving way. Do it in a way that is for his own good, so that he feels good afterwards. Not just a forgiven person who's done wrong and that's it. No. Try to bring him up to a higher level. And this is one of the many lessons that we learned from the parasha of this week. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.